best for the citizens of this county. In Jesus' name, amen.
All in favor, raise your right hand. For approval of minutes, July 21st, 2021, we need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. J. Grant, Sheriff Department.
Mr. Chairman, is that Wes here or anybody from Sheriff's Department?
Go back to number 5, and the sheriff gets here. Number 6, accommodation tax committee.
Mr. Chairman, the committee met a couple of times, actually 3 or 4 times. I don't know if one of their members is here to be, or the members are here, but this is the proposed league guide. As you know from last year, we didn't spend any funds that we had in accommodation tax as we did previous year due to the COVID situation. So therefore, we had about $66,000 in funds we got this year for not up this year, not up to 125, and then 25,000 goes to the county, 5% goes to us, and then 30% goes to the chamber, and then at least 66 plus we need to add the 65 and 60, 66 gets from 133. And these are the funds they projected for 2021. These funds here, which amount to 106,000, and I guess they want to go back and tell you what they're funding in 2018 and 2019. But we did have some additional funds just due to the fact that we didn't spend any money last year due to the COVID situation. This is what Mike Griffey and this crowd with the accommodation tax committee is.
Anybody got any questions they want to put in about accommodation tax? We'll go down to number 7.
Todd
Davis goes to me.
You need to vote on the accommodation
Which
tax.
so good, kind of explained to me that he wants to come before the council, he had a good idea.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if we could back up, the proposal has to be voted on for the accommodations tax committee.
Okay, I was just one by this and she didn't have anything to vote on. Okay, we have a motion to approve the accommodation tax recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve the accommodation tax recommendation.
Second. Second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Get back, Todd, give the podium, you got some real good ideas on how to
Do I need to sign into this?
No.
Chairman, thank you and council for giving me the opportunity to come and present this to you. I'm not representing the city at all. I was asked by a nonprofit group called Dillon Community Alliance. If y'all don't know who the Dillon Community Alliance is, they're a nonprofit that kind of helps the city with some things like the festivals we've been having on last Friday nights and so on. They do that. They raise the money for the entertainment, for the people to get out, and some other things from a public event standpoint to kind of keep it all in the city. So they're a group of, they're kind of like an merchant association of downtown business owners. And we always, when I was mayor, said you need a merchants association. Sales, so they've done a great job. Got great people on there, they don't get paid anything to do it out their time. And they spend a lot of time on it to do a good job. But again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, so I am here on their behalf. I generally don't use notes, but I do here, because I don't want to have to take any more time, I'm not going to take much time at all. I did look at your last budget workshop, and I feel like I'm kind of going into the lion's den a little bit, because I know that, budgets are stretched, everywhere, with the virus, and with the economy in some areas, and areas are very good, and areas are not. But I'm gonna tell you up front, I am kind of coming in here with my hand out. And I'm gonna tell you why, I hope I can sell you. So I am representing them, they are a nonprofit, so why am I here today? It's simply because of Main Street. I've always been interested in economic development. I went to the SKIDS program at College of Charleston in 07 and 08. Learned a lot there, especially about community development. But I'm focusing, where my focus as mayor was, and kind of got off track, was on downtown and Main Street. Over the last month and a half, I've no longer being there. I kind of kept my mouth shut for the last year and a half. About running themselves. But over the last month, I've visited some towns. I've been to Lake City, spent some time there. I've been to Kansas, Clarksville a couple times. There, kind of towns similar to ours, somewhat. And see what they were doing, spoke to some of those, see how they're going about revitalizing their main streets. All those were in trouble. Florence too, even though they're a different animal than us. Florence was there. One time their main street was called, they were drunk 3 times over, because they kept trying and kept failing. But in Hartsville, even today, I spoke with a lady named Natalie Zealand. I spoke to Mel Kennedy from there. I said, what are you guys doing on your main street? Y'all got 4 or 5 restaurants. You got all kinds of places to go, entertainment. And basically says, fine, to keep it simple, it has to come from within your community. Same thing they said in Camden. I was really impressed with there. Lake City. Lake City got a break with, Wall Street financiers, all more, spent millions of bucks in there. And I don't think you can buy a vibrant Main Street. I think it takes the people that are of your community to support it. You buy a lot of things, but I don't think you can buy your survival. And last 2 Sundays ago, my wife and I drove to Marion this street to look at it. Marion's come a long way, very similar to Dillon. Speaking to the lady in Hartsville today, I know why Marion's come a long way. Hartsville's been working with Marion. I just learned that the other day. And this paid dividends. They made an investment and they did nothing. Marion's really doing very well. Following through to some extent. But I'm going to talk to you real briefly about what I think, from my point of view, Dillon being the hub of the county needs to be from a short-term and medium-term perspective. When I left the city of Dillon as mayor, we were starting this downtown master plan. Y'all see this city. We've done probably 2 or 3 on there since I was in office. And it wrapped up probably February, March this year. A lot of things here is pie in the sky. Some things are good ideas. I addressed Dillon last week about Main Street. We've always talked about it. Because I think that's where the progressive ideas should come from the city. The city should focus on the Main Street. I don't think it should only the city. I think we're all in it together. But that is primarily the city's responsibility. But it was kind of my focus. I never really zeroed in on it like I should have. I did when I started, and the ideas I brought, council bought it most of the time. And we did some things. And if you remember, one of the first things we had when I came into office, beside the theater, there was an old store. I don't know if it was a paint store or whatever. Remember, it was collapsed. But it was pulling the wall from the theater down to the wall there. And I said, there's no way we're going to have an abandoned building beside the building down the theater. So that was the theater. And that's kind of got me started with downtown. That's what 13 years ago. And we partnered with Judd Lockney, Bob Brady, Jeffrey Martin, Pastor Rose, and his party with the and we created Lockney Fort. Some other things we did was the South Plaza, where we hold these festivals and concerts and stuff like that. not on Main Street, but the Wellness Center. Dillon was wrapping up its streetscape when I came in. I came in on the second phase. We had a festival called Celebrate Main Street. I don't know if you could call it Celebrate Main Street anymore. It did then. I don't know about now, but that's what it was. About a year, 2 years before I left, I met Mr. Wagner, city manager, at Demonstrated Farm, see what Lawrence is doing. Met with their city manager, Ray Wright, over here. We did it on a smaller scale, but what they do, they kind of incentivize their property owners through what we call upkeep plans. They also have facade plans. And they'll say, if you spend X amount of money, we'll match it up to this point. And that's how they got some of their projects started. Florence pumped in over $200 million to the area. They got a lot of help. We help recruit from restaurants, primarily out on Bradford Boulevard. We took some buildings down, or they went into those belts. That's a lot of controversy in that one. They taken it down, but it was convenient. Took some down on Hampton Street, right behind Main Street. But it's a problem. If y'all know where my office is, you don't, I'm on MacArthur Avenue, right beside the railroad track. I went to the post office last week, and so I took off walking from the office on MacArthur, past the depot, to the post office. So I started counting buildings. We got approximately 34 buildings on both sides of the road, from MacArthur Avenue to the post office. You want to guess how many of those are vacant? 56% of those buildings are majority of Main Street, West Main Street, 56% of them are vacant, which is awful. It's a bad state. Used to be when we were talking about Main Street, I know with the city, we were talking about the port coming, Wyman Gordon coming, Harbor Freight expanding coming. It's going to change things like it changed. We're waiting, I guess, kind of waiting for the Savior to come save us on Main Street. It never did. Our Main Street is us, it's our community. If we want to save Main Street, it's got to be a community effort. It's got to come from within the community. The city, the county, everybody. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. The good thing is, y'all watch all the trouble in the urban areas on TV. A lot of people now are going back to Main Street. There's a time they were leaving, they were dying. In many cases, they still are. Those cities I talked about, Marion, Bowen, Lake City, Camden, Hartford, they are absolutely light years ahead of us. Just light years, not even close. I think Hartsville has 5 to 6 restaurants downtown. Camden has 3 or 4. They kind of specialize in antique shops. I'm not knocking restaurants here. I think we really have competition in anything, including restaurants. That's why they all hub together when they come. They want to see where the other restaurants are. They want to be in the same location. I think it is all that. I go to every restaurant in Dillon. I enjoy it. King's Pizza, Calvert's back there another lunch. Fantastic every week. Mark on a grill for breakfast on Saturdays or supper, other days. I enjoy them all. Other than a peddler, though, if you want to entertain somebody you really don't have anywhere to go. Now, one, and I'm not talking just about a restaurant, a spa, a whatever. You don't have these things that drive the CEOs coming into town with the ride. I gauge towns when I go visit them, I gauge them by their race. That's what I look at. That tells me how progressive they are, how much they care about their community. When I look at Dillon, I try to come in a lot of times, blind you, kind of think I've never seen this town before. We got great phone structures. I don't don't know if I would plant myself here. Simply because it's not having a whole lot to do. Doing an awful lot of places to go. And where I really got focused on this and wanted to do something about it was my son's graduation class at Christian school. That they go out together, have a dinner, the last time we meet. They pick up the Kevin and cook. We had no farms, so we had reservations, just messed up. That. I don't want to have our kids from school for supper clubs or whatever. I would love to have things here built to stay home. We don't have to do this out there. I don't know if y'all seen the census figure. I don't know if it's right. Those of you that haven't, it shows Dillon County declining by 11%. Just 2021. There's other issues with Main Street that causes us, people not to work here, that who work here but not live here, housing. The perception of the students, maybe not the students, but the perception of outsiders. There's no rental properties. There's other factors too. That's I told the city, you either got to buy in, all in on Main Street right now. You got to do it by seed money, and they got the seed money to do it for 2 things. And then y'all got to start enforcing the rules on the books on site. That same day I walked in that post office, I would have been one of the buildings that day. And inside, it was loaded with mold. This looked like cars. I think the building on the other side has a bathroom that's facing. This, some people don't need to own property because you don't take care of it. It drags the other property owners down. They don't want to invest in it. There's too big of a deal. I invested in the deal. We bought the old price deal. I'd never do it again. That's about 13,000 square feet upstairs, downstairs, sub-renovated it. I got hung, the one overseeing the work, took a year. It was a disaster. But if we hadn't have done it, those buildings would have been on the conservation list. It's just how it was taken care of for years. Because the prices were held for us, can't afford to do it. I said, well, I see why. I mean, you got a lot of space. It's the oldest brick building I made. Fabulous building, has this huge hand-cranked elevator. There's a lot of history on it. You can get your driver's license there every day. All kind of stuff you need to go in the history of that building. And it's just huge. Y'all want to come in and look at that inside. I think somebody told me the old Main Street in Dillon was behind that building. If you walk in it, all the architecture is facing out behind that building. Sense that that kind of thing like that would the city of Dillon, like I said, is a retail. I think because you have a nonprofit that works, is always established here, anything the county can do in assisting the city or other investors that want to give, it's already set up to do it. From these funds from the American Rescue or whatever. I don't know what projects y'all have. We want to be able to go in and start with the nonprofits and say, okay, we got enough seed money that will match you a certain amount that they could go in and have an opportunity for 6 to 7 of these property owners to help them start the repair business. I don't know how else you do it. Unless we have $1 more in our community, which I don't think we do. I think we've got to do that ourselves. When I said about a long, a short, and intermediate goal, the city was talking about hiring a county government. And I said, that's good, especially somebody that's right, grant help for that kind is out there. But if it's not for that, I think you wasted the money because if somebody comes in, wanting to get arrested, wanting to get fined, wanting to get a rental shop, they really don't, we don't have an inventory here. There's no inventory there. I know the demand's there because we completely revitalized that old shoe building that was there. And I've got 3 or 4 people calling me about building street plans. So I know there's people wanting to come and rent or buy property. I've had a major restaurant willing to come look at ours. A couple from New York last week looking to do something. So I know the demand. I think a lot of these things will be wide open. People are, there's nowhere else to go to do service or what have you. We've got a lot of opportunities. So the short-term goal is to use, the city doesn't do your job side. But I'd like to see the Dillon Community Alliance take the legwork on the application, what is the software, keep up with it, judge them, select whoever by whatever criteria, but not only how you're going to fix the building, but what are you going to do with the help of the community. And let them do it, take the politics out of it. Let the city do the oversight. There's just a lot of good people that already have tested on this. Better way to do it, in fact, is to own it. On the intermediate side, I didn't know this. I called Jackie this morning. I said, Jackie, can you help us? And he said, yeah, thanks. But I read on this, and this is pretty good report. It talks about traffic count. So we have pretty busy Main Street during the work day. About 9,000 cars come up and down Main Street. Good municipal services and so forth. But the city, Main Street, will be repaved in 2022. I didn't know that. But one of the best parts of this study was they recommended, among a lot of things, but they recommended you totally redo your streetscape plan. You kind of tear up what you're doing. That's what I call Representative Davis. So it's probably maybe a good time. You haven't signed off on it, you haven't got anything that looks like safety at $100 million. That's all in up, we can't put that on this project. But yeah. So I think I can get that. So short term is what we can do to lift ourselves up, build ourselves. Immediate is what the state can do and totally change our Main Street from the planning, the trees, the parking, the sign, and so forth. One of these suggestions was, I used to like 4 lanes on the Main Street of Dillon. I said, with less than wide Main Street. Everybody I talked to said that's one of the negatives. You need to look at 2 lanes for a 3-lane max. Bring your streetscape out to the road. Stop doing this. We're creating 100 parking spaces for a 10. The business owners can do more on the sidewalk, do a lot more things, safer than the cars not traveling as fast. All kind of benefits of it. We're just totally doing the streetscape problem. The streetscape they did 20 years ago was good. Thank God they did it because it ball bearing cables, stop signs, stop lights, a lot of stuff. Probably would be cost prohibitive to do that. But they already did it. So they're going to repave in 2022 is a perfect time to go to South Carolina and they keep out that in the city and I mean the body money with that would be that would be a great thing to save out there. And I'm just going to close. There's never been a better time, a better opportunity than right now. So the city got some funds to use some projects. you know, we got some funds for projects. I know they're gonna be taking Main Street, break down the weak two buildings, it makes a difference. I take pride in my town, I know y'all do, y'all here tonight do, or you're big here. I wanna see the kids have something to do, I wanna see the couples have places to go to dinner, go get their nails done, and I want to see more kids and down. The last thing, the lady from Parks, she even gave me a lead today, and I know we almost came close to a boutique hotel about 5 or 6 years ago, it was for y'all. She gave me a serious name of somebody that would look at that again. I don't know if it's supposed to go, but we need apartment housing on Main Street. We need on Main Street to thrive and survive. That's what I'm after asking. Anything y'all can do. It's a project. This project's good for the collective, everybody. I hate it as mayor when you have money to give and everybody came with a handout. I had to say no, and I had to say no, and I had to say no. But when you're talking about your down, us, that's who we are. We're taking the best project to do for this. That's what we do.
So we appreciate what all you've done. I know it's a lot of work, and you're not getting paid to do what you're doing here, so you can get your way and want to help you. And we want to too. We'll discuss this and see what we can do. We appreciate
Y'all
your
ask
answer.
me, but just to see how things go on that, see how the property owners react to it. I know you can incentivize any of them all the time, money in the world. But for some, they will. If you can get 2 buildings a year, 3 buildings the next year, they're coming off the floor. Some, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the sheriff is here. Yeah. The sheriff is here. If you'd like to do that.
Therefore, we skip over number 5, the guy grant, so we'll not so we'll be here.
Good evening, sorry to be like that. We just want to let you know that the county's been granted a giant grant in the amount of $12,516. So we plan to purchase 2 portable radios and 8 flashlights. The 2 portable radios will be $11,520.82. And the 8 flashlights will be $978.18. Which would be a total of $12,560. And there's no matching, so we have to present it. No matching.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, we're down to number 8, public hearing. A, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee and legal tax agreement by between Dillon County, South Carolina, and MDPH Open Faith LLC for respective certain economic development property in the county, whereby such property will be subject to certain payments and legal taxes, including the reason of certain special sales credits and other matters related thereto.
Just everybody sign up. No one signed up for all.
Ordinance to amend the agreement for the development of a joint industrial and business park dated May 27, 2009, by and between Marion and Dillon County, so to enlarge the park, project feature.
No one signed the street for that.
C, in order to provide budget appropriation for county purposes in the county of Dillon for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021, and ending June 30, 2022, and adopt and implement rates and fees or other tax purposes and county appropriation purposes to establish the tax levy to provide for the budget.
Mr. Kevin's off on the side of the street.
President-elect.
I just wanted to point out, that, Mr. Davis do make a point, especially residential areas, if we can get somehow the city and the county together, especially working together, with these residential areas, things built, where, people can have homes that they can shop, you know what I mean? Landscaping, beautified, you know, you got your zoning, like I said, we gotta start enforcing things like that, some areas you can have mobile homes, some you can't, you know what I mean? If you just go ahead and make them all the same district, I mean, you know, zoning and bring those entities in and have places where they can, you know, rent and that's nice, you know what I mean? And, as far as that budget, I just wanted to make sure, I've been back down to, Denver District's office, and I said again, the airport account, that was $180,000. That money is still there. But what bothers me once again is that interest, that big rate. It do not need to be going into the general fund. So we need to make sure that we pay attention that has to, that's airport account. So we gotta make sure that that's going back to where it, you know, supposed to be. Outside of that, I see no problem.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Marcus McGurk is also trying
MDTA Harbor Freight LLC with respect to certain economic development property in the county, whereby such property will be subject to certain payments in lieu of taxes, including provisions of certain special source credits and other matters related thereto. This requires a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I do, we're lucky tonight to have Mr. William Flynn here from Florida Electric Co-op, so he can, if you got any questions with that, so we were going to pass it back in June, and it just got delayed due to a couple of counseling situations. It's still the same ones we proposed in June.
We have a motion to pass the third reading. We have a motion to second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, 9B, third reading, an ordinance to provide budget appropriations for county purposes in the county of Dillon for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2021, and ending June the 30th, 2022, and adopt, implement rates and fees for other tax purposes and county appropriation purposes, to establish the tax millage to provide for the budget. This requires a motion.
Make a motion that we pass third reading.
We have a motion, there's a second?
Second.
There's a second, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. C, third reading, an ordinance to amend the agreement.
Is, we call for the nay votes, if you would.
I can't hear you, Adam.
I'm sorry. If you would call for the nay votes as well. think we had 4 affirmative votes. I think we need to call for the nay votes as well.
Okay, I didn't realize it. I thought everybody voted for it. Anybody opposed, raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, we're down 9C, third reading ordinance to amend agreement for the development of the Joint Industrial and Business Park dated May the 27th, 2009, by and between Marion and Dillon counties, to enlarge the park, its project piece. This is the Marion County. We have a motion.
I make a motion to pass the third reading.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. 9D, second reading, an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of not exceeding $1,200,000 general obligation bonds, series 2021 of Dillon County, South Carolina, fixing the form and details of the bonds, providing for the payment of the bonds, authorizing the chair of the county council and county administrator to determine certain matters relating to the bonds, providing for payment of the bonds, the disposition of the proceeds of the bonds, and other matters related thereto. We have a motion for the second reading. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, 9E, second reading, an ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement for the development of the joint industrial and business park by and between Dillon County and Overy County with property located in Dillon County, Project Asset and Project Tiny Miracle, to require the payment of the fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes by businesses and industries located in the park, to apply zoning and other laws in the park, to provide for a law enforcement jurisdiction in the park, and to provide for the distribution of park revenues within the county. This requires a motion.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is that a second?
I think
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Mr. Chairman.
Finance report.
Mr. Chairman, before you move to that, can we go back to B, ordinance reading 3, section B, which is the budget. I think we do owe the citizens some sort of an explanation as to why we didn't vote. We had a very good budget workshop, I think it was last week or the week before, and we specifically asked to see some numbers and documentation, and we were given just what we asked for, some numbers. It doesn't say, it's not itemized, it doesn't say where this money came from, how much money we have in this pot, where did this money come, what was spent here, and I just don't understand how we could pass a budget without adequately seeing and knowing exactly what's in these accounts, what's coming in and going out. And so I just wanted the citizens to understand that I didn't just not vote for the budget just because I wanted to be defiant, but I think that our job here is to represent you all. And it's not enough for people to give me numbers and I can't see details. I need an itemized list of what's going on with finances in this county if we plan to move it forward. Other than that, we cannot adequately serve and operate as government officials, budgeting and balancing the budget. I know that they're saying that we can pass the budget and go back and amend it, but I believe why not do it the first time around? No need to come back and amend it when we can do it right the first time. So I just want you guys to understand why it is that I didn't vote for the budget, all right? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We're down to number 10, finance report.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we got a finance report through July, and it's in your package here. We have collected so far, based on the revenues, about 1.8 million so far through the end of July. We have spent about 1.5 million, in reference to that. We're about 349,000 good so far for this finance report for July of that. So we're running pretty good on the cash flow for this month and this time. So hopefully we can get through the next couple of months. I did want to make one reference to that. I did give y'all a proposal on Smith Gardner. It's our engineering firm we use at the landfill. And I want to go ahead and tell you that landfill transfers, the floor was repaired we need to go ahead and shore up the structure of the landfill down here. That they gave us a proposal for $12,000, which I'm gonna go ahead and sign that and approve that structural part, but then the council, I will probably be at the next council meeting for a full, to a recommendation of full transfer station to be built beside the current transfer station.
Anybody got
But
any
I don't think you got no
questions?
choice, at this point, I don't think you got a choice but to go ahead and shore up what you got. And we did that with the floor, now we need to do it with the structure, and I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this part, go ahead and move that part, because we gotta do that based on the requirements. But after that, I will probably come back and next council meeting with the recommendation.
Anybody got any questions? We'll go down to new business. They made Bridge Tech Solutions, Danny Holden.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I got, that's fine. I got Danny's our IT person for the county, and Danny Holder, and we've got some switch repairs we need to do. And Danny, you want to explain to me what the switch
Yes, sir.
repairs on?
Yes, sir. Currently, right now, Dillon County has 24 network switches that we utilize in various departments that are used with networking of all the departments. Currently, right now, we have a maintenance agreement. That way, if one of the switches were to fail, say during the day, within another business day, I can get another one in from Cisco. And no fees or anything like that, they immediately get the switch in quickly for me. All right, well, currently, at the end of this month, that expires. If that expires then, each switch is currently approximately about $28,000. So to be able to renew the maintenance on this, I found it was easier to go ahead and do 3 years worth of maintenance versus just doing it year by year. And what this will pertain to, it will allow us to be able to have 3 years of maintenance on these switches. That way, especially in this pandemic, if we said no, if one of those switches fails, it could take a month or more for one of those switches to come in, because they're very hard to get a hold of. Like right now, if I order a computer, it takes around 3 or 4 weeks for a computer to come in, because there's a shortage of materials. So what we're looking at doing is just trying to keep up this idea with the maintenance on these switches, because we could not, say, deal with having the whole city county building over there totally shut down because the switch died, and we've got to wait a month or more for a new switch to come in. That's really what I'm looking for there, is just to have another 3 years of maintenance on these switches to get us through this pandemic at least. And then we can look at maybe going back year by year.
How much is it gonna cost us?
69,447.26. What I would recommend is we approve it tonight, so the game can move ahead. And I think based on the the American Recovery money we received, I think we can go back and do that due to cyber situations, doing the upgrade our switches. But I would recommend tonight take it out of, the computer maintenance part of it, and then I'll probably
It
come back.
expires at the end of this
Right,
month.
and I'll go back, I'll go back probably in September. When I come back in September, I'll probably gonna ask you to look at, do the American Recovery Fund.
Yes,
So you're gonna have to do a resolution for that, right?
Yes, I'll have to go back next month and do that too. But I don't want to slow down.
If there's any other questions, I'm always glad to carry council around to see these switches as to what they deal with, what they work with. Always happy to do that. So if anyone ever wants to call me and take a look at the equipment, please. I'm here for you.
$6,900 for 3 years of maintenance.
69,000, yes, sir. It's
That's
3 years.
69,000.
The more years you purchase, the cheaper it is per year for that maintenance cost.
And what consists of the maintenance?
I'm sorry?
What consists of the maintenance?
Currently,
Ain't
what
come
it-
there and wipe and do it, don't we?
No, sir. It consists of the idea of, say, a network switch fails. Let's say 2 p.m., or forbid, network switch at the city county building fails. I do my best to troubleshoot it, try to get it going. If I can't, I notify Cisco, tell them they immediately, within 1 business day, like I said, they'll get me another switch. I'll take that switch, get it configured, put it inside of its location. And like I said, without this, we'd have to purchase it, which, like I said, each switch is around $28,000.
In other words, they furnish the switches within the 3 years.
Well, no, yeah, during that 3-year period, they will furnish it, and essentially, they will have some sitting on the shelf.
Right.
Whereas I can't buy those switches off the shelf.
Yeah, maintenance to me is PM.
Well, that's it, it's just the idea, I just
They
have
offer
to
a
do.
service to bring you some new switches, that'd be a problem.
Right, and these switches are very much like tanks. They're very tough, they're very durable. Cisco is a very good company to deal with. It's just, the maintenance on these are expensive, but they're expensive switches. Like I said, $28,000 to try to buy one, and you might not get one within a day. You probably won't. It might take you a month, which then you might have a whole department down for a whole month or more until you got it in.
Well, you said that funding will come out of what?
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna recommend that we take it out of the computer maintenance since the budget passed this year, for this meeting. But I may come back in the September meeting and get us to, to dedicate toward the ARP money, because I think we can tie this back due to the cyber improvements we need to make that we're trying to do. I think Danny and I had a conversation. I think this will improve those aspects of it, which I think would fall under the American Recovery Fund.
It's very difficult to get switches right now.
I think that,
Switches, computer equipment, and all.
I totally agree. I think as time goes on, we're gonna get more and more virtual as we do stuff now. We've already switched a lot of our stuff to the different aspects of the cloud and that type of stuff. What these switches gonna end up doing is enable us to get better access and get better security based on cyber attacks and stuff like that. We can get these, should one of these switches fail, our entire financial system could get down. So that's why we're doing it.
I'm for it, I think we need to do it. How do we know we can take this out of the recovery money though?
It clearly says in American Recovery that if you deal it if we can tie it back to the fact that it's cyber security, helps us deal with cyber attacks and stuff like that, then I think we could probably, get it switched under there. If not, we'll just have to take it out and we can get it back.
I think we need to get it, I just wanted to ask,
No.
we asked some other questions.
Totally understand.
We wasn't sure what we could do, so I was just trying to figure out how we were so sure. Well, I'm for it, I think we need to get it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Do we have a motion for the big shape solution? Motion required.
Make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the second. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. New business, B, census data, Dillon County 2020.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I gave you some information, there's some information coming out that is starting to leak out and come out through the U.S. Census. Dillon County got some information that was, sent to us through the county association, through the county, through the U.S. Census too. And based on the 2020 census, our population total for 2020 was 28,292 total population. In 2010, it was 32,062. Change is about 3,770 people. It's about 11.8% decrease due to population and census tracking there too. So I wanted to make sure council knew that, because this is the information being sent out publicly.
Is there any way to challenge this? We got more people than the census people didn't count the people in Dillon County. I know of several places
Yeah.
in Lakeview, they just counted the people that had mailboxes, the people that got rural delivery didn't get a sheet. And I know in the Carolina section up there, a lot of those people were counted.
Yeah,
But I don't think there's anything we can do about it. I was asking to see if it is.
Yeah, I think that your response is right on with a lot of people, because I think a lot of people, I met with some other counties the other day, we were talking about certain stuff, and that was one thing. We need Florence County, for instance, dropped by 1%. So Marion was about 11, right at us, 11.5%. Marlboro was about 9 something, and Darlington was about 6 something, and Orange was about 30% increase. But I mean, I think that's maybe even low. So I think there's going to be they're going to go back and look at some of the census tracts and basically look at the areas to see that possibly could be undercounted. But at this time, right now, I don't know a legal way we can go back and challenge it at this point.
Well, you got down here, this requires a motion. Why
No, it
did you
doesn't
take a
require
motion?
much.
This is information.
I'm sorry, it doesn't require much. I just wanted to give you this information, so when I knew information's coming out about that.
Anybody got any more questions on that from Census County? Okay, we got number 12, old business, enterprise lease, sheriff's department.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we have been there a couple of times, the sheriff and I finally got together, he has got, want to order 10 vehicles like we leased through Enterprise, and I think Jamie's up there, the sheriff here. Sheriff's still here. But I think the vehicles, we're gonna lease them, but they do take a time to come in, so I know there's gonna be some time lag there to come in. So I think that based on the 10 vehicles that we're gonna list, I think he was looking at doing some of the Explorers, what I call Explorers, whatever they are, and then some of the others, which would be 10 cars. I mean, the 10 vehicles, is that right? We need
10, yes.
Did they say we need to come in, or
They have,
okay, they got all 10?
yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay.
Does the county have any vehicles not pertaining to the sheriff's office that we can get through enterprise?
Yeah, I think we're gonna sit down and talk and see which vehicles you've got that are salvageable. They will, I mean, I know Enterprise would take over some of the vehicles should we want to turn them back in. I think the sheriff and I will evaluate those and maybe make a recommendation back in September. Is that okay? And figure out which ones we think are possibly salvageable and which ones are possibly not. So I think that.
Some of them may give you a pretty good deal.
Right. Some of them may be pretty good. So I think we'll come back in September and make that recommendation. Is that okay?
That's fine.
We finish this, Sheriff, you gonna be able to get these vehicles right away, or just wait and list?
It's still probably be about 3-4 months by the time you get the equipment and everything.
Right.
By the time they like a month behind installing, so once we get them there, it's gonna take us a month to get them installed. And they saying they'll probably take them 3 weeks to get us up and going.
Sheriff, what would that include in the vehicles? There's radios and all that, or
I
just?
saw radios, cameras. Now, they won't put the radios in, Motorola have to put the radios in. But they're gonna install the blue lights, bumper guards, and all the lights, flashlights and stuff like that. All that. And also decaling the vehicle. We plan to do 4 of them with them and 4 of them local.
Anybody got any more questions on that, Sheriff? Do we have a motion to go to enterprise lease for Sheriff's Department?
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you.
Okay, you got down here landfill, you discussed that on the finance report.
That's off the agenda. I already talked about that. That's
Yeah.
good.
Do you need us to vote on it, so you
No,
can go ahead?
no, I've already taken care of this,
Okay.
too.
Now, number 13, recreation request,
I
and,
think Lisa's got one,
I'd
two.
like to add Marcus McGurk's request. So we can take it at the same time, if that's in order.
Alright, so good afternoon, good evening. Basically what it is that I just proposed for council is they're having a Black Male Summit for, at Clemson University. We got some males that's in our Save Our Youth Movement program that are running here in the PD. It's about 10 males, could potentially grow to more. However, we're asking for, a donation towards that. We have 3 males from Dillon High School, 5 males from Latta High School, 2 males from Lakeview High School, and the cost per student for the summit is $75. It deals with career and professional development, entrepreneurship, masculinity, retention rates, graduation and student achievement, social and community engagement. Just asking that, council will consider sponsoring one or more of the individuals that will be attending that trip on November the 4th and 5th.
Thank you for comment. Do you have any other?
Y'all got money now, and it's
Yeah.
75
Yeah.
per boy. So, y'all won't do anything.
How many people you got all together?
It's
doing
10,
that?
10, 10
10.
for it's
Okay.
2 Lakeview, 3 Dillon, and 5 Latta.
Lisa, I'll do 2. Say the
I'll do 2, Lisa.
I'll do two also, Lisa.
And then two as well,
How many is that, David?
Two out? Okay, I'll do one.
I'll do.
Thank y'all as well.
Do you have a motion to approve the recreational plan?
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
We got,
Say, raise your right hand.
Let's do them all at one time.
We have some more too.
we got
We
two
do all
other
the-
places.
We do all the recreation at one time.
It's fine. That one's approved, but they do have a few more.
We got two
Okay,
more.
okay.
One is, Dillon Christian School Booster Club. Harold, they want you to put an ad in their program,
Yes,
$250 for a full page,
yes.
okay? And the other is the sports report. I think in the past, each one of you have done a $150 ad in the high school sports report. $150. Do anything, Tricky? Oh.
No, I already do one.
Yeah, I already did it.
No, okay, do we have a motion to approve all the recreational plan?
I made a motion to approve this request.
Okay, there's a second.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. We're down on number 14, executive session, economic development matter, Marlboro Electric Corporation. We have a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
I take it.
All in favor, raise your right hand. We're going to executive